So how many times have you communicated today? Checked your phone, put on your clothes, saw a loved one? My guess is a couple dozen times already, and probably many more before you go to sleep. Communication is everywhere, from my messy room to my pictures in the background. We're always communicating with each other. That's why I decided to talk about Chapter 1, Communicating for Life. Why am I qualified to teach about this chapter? Well, I read the chapter, and I've been communicating my entire life. I don't know how much more qualified I can get. I believe that communication is the basis for life as we know it, especially in modern day times. Today I'm going to discuss the importance of studying communication, the basics including the types and terms involved, and then some principles that I want you to try and understand and try to hone to become a better communicator. So first, why is studying communication important? Well, Young and Travis, the great writers of our textbook, opened the chapter by saying, "Each communication experience is an opportunity to demonstrate your willingness to work with others. Appropriate words and actions make you appealing to strangers and open social and professional doors that lead to friendships, employment, and personal growth." Literally, by communicating with people, we are opening doors for our own personal growth and the life around us. Whether by just smiling at someone or wearing a specific piece of clothing could lead to finding a loved one, or making a certain network at a dinner function could lead to that next big job. Communicating can benefit all aspects of our life, but it's something you also have to fine-tune, and not everyone is just inherently good at. Next, some of the glossary words for you to remember, even though you probably won't. According to the textbook, each interaction consists of communicators, messages, a channel, circumstances, feedback, and in some instances, but not always, noise. So what do these mean? Communicators, people. I'm communicating to you. I'm a communicator. The message begins with a thought, which most people understand message, but what they might not understand is the encoding and decoding process. So by me choosing my words, I'm encoding the message and choosing my tone. By you can either get offended by what I say, or can listen to what I say, or maybe not even understand. That is the decoding process. The channel is the medium by which the message is exchanged. So if I was to stop and just start emailing the rest of this performance to my professor, be a completely different medium, and she'd be so upset with me because this is a public speaking course. The medium could be anything, from a video to the radio to a movie, any form of exchange. The circumstances, the context, why are we here, final presentation, I'm staring at my camera, context. Feedback would be responding. Since no one's talking back, I won't get any feedback until I get my grade, and that will be the response. And then noise, 3 types. Physical, if a siren went off. Personal, if I'm talking in my head, then don't speed up, don't slow down. Or semantic, if I started speaking another language, or if you were talking to a doctor and he was using a lot of big words, we wouldn't understand. That would act as a form of noise because we wouldn't be able to receive the message as clearly. There are also 4 types. Interpersonal, talking to yourself. Interpersonal, talking with somebody else. Small group, which is a group of 3 to 20 people. So unfortunately, none of us took a public speaking class because there was 18 students, 1 professor. So we all took a small group speaking class. And then there's public speaking, which is defined as an organized message and an official audience. Think of giving a speech to an entire school or auditorium of people. That's what the textbook defines as public speaking. So there are principles involved. The textbook believes there are 4 cornerstone principles. 1, we cannot not communicate. Unless extreme circumstances, whether solitary confinement or maybe we're just very, very antisocial, we're going to be forced to communicate. Communication is irreversible is cornerstone 2. Once we send down our message and that message is received, we can't change what that communication does to another person. If it hurts their feelings, it hurts their feelings, and we have to move on and try to fix their feelings that we just hurt. 3, communication is a continuing process. So what that means is, if you're hanging out with a friend that's using a word all the time, you're going to start using that word in your vocab. It's just how it happens. We learn words, we learn skills, we learn eye contact, and we pick them up and we implement them in our communicating style. And then 4th, communication involves ethical considerations. You can't just talk to somebody how you might talk to your best friend, because you have to understand their circumstances. If they're sad or maybe there's something special you have to avoid saying in front of them, you have to be ethical and consider that they might be having a bad day or a good day, and you just have to choose what you say and when to say it, and you have to realize that your words have weight. Lastly, there are variables that we deal with when communicating, and to deal with those variables, there is a term called adaptability. And the textbook defines adaptability as the ability to choose the appropriate communication for the situation and its participants. So if you're talking to your little cousin, you're going to put on your best baby face and try to make them laugh. But if you're at a business interview, you're going to be dead serious, maybe sweating a little bit, trying to use the biggest words you can imagine. You're adapting for the situation. So in conclusion, we talked about why I think you should study it. We talked about some of the basics, and we talked about some of the principles involved to get good at it. I think the biggest thing to take from this chapter is that communication isn't just talking. It could be me texting you on my phone, or me wearing a sweet piece of clothing representing where I'm from and communicating my nationality. It's all around us, to the messiness, to the pictures, to literally anything you do, facial expression. People are receiving your message and receiving your communication. So I think everyone should keep that in mind. Lastly, I just want to thank everyone, Dr. Dykes, for the semester. I learned a lot, and I wish everyone the best of luck in the future. And I truly believe that communication is the basis for life as we know it. So I'll follow you guys on Instagram or Twitter or something.